Today's pantry stock up is going to be all things sugar. This is how I store my sugar for everyday use. It's a gallon anchor hocking container, and I store it right on my bake center, so it's readily available. I'm looking at the Walmart website, and you'll see that there is granulated sugar and there's pure cane sugar. The difference between the two of these, pure cane sugar is made from sugar cane, which is a non-GMO crop, and the granulated sugar has like a high 90s percentile that it is made from GMO sugar beet crops. Now I just want to show you something. Look at the packaging on Walmart site. Pure granulated sugar. That's kind of sneaky, huh? Yeah, I don't know if I like that. So I always try to go for the pure cane sugar personally. I just wanted to point that out to you. In my pantry, I have a 5-gallon bucket that I fill with sugar. It takes about 25 pounds to fill it up. On the bottom of the bucket, if it's food grade, it'll have a triangle with a number 2. And the orange Home Depot buckets have this symbol on it. So it's a food grade bucket. Very inexpensive. The lid on this bucket is not a gamma lid. A gamma lid is a little bit different style, but it accomplishes the same thing. I can open up this bucket. It just rotates off. And on the inside, there's a gasket, and it keeps it airtight. And then I can just store my sugar in there. You can buy the lids separate. So like if you had a orange Home Depot bucket, you could purchase this gamma lid. The ring attaches to the top of the bucket, and then the second piece opens and closes so you can get in and out of the bucket easily. This is just a different style. All right, so I have this in my pantry, and I can restock my container. You don't have to buy brown sugar in the store. You can make your own really easily, and it tastes so much better. In my mixing bowl, I have 4 cups of pure cane sugar and 1/2 cup of molasses. I really like this brand, and I keep this jar in my bake center, and then in my pantry, I keep a gallon. When I do my annual stock up, I make sure that I have a gallon of molasses on hand. Now I'm just gonna put the paddle attachment on the mixer and mix this for about 5 minutes. After 5 minutes mixing with the paddle attachment on the KitchenAid, this is what it's gonna look like. And this smells amazing. Oh my gosh. Once you make it, you'll never go back to store-bought. I store my brown sugar in the same gallon anchor hocking container. However, I line it with a 2-gallon Ziploc bag. I'm gonna get the brown sugar in the bag. If you want a lighter sugar, just add a little bit less molasses. If you want a darker sugar, add more. I think this is just perfect. Now, in addition to storing it in this Ziploc bag, I also have what is called a brown sugar bear. I got this at Bed Bath & Beyond years ago. I think it was like $2 or $3, very inexpensive. You could alternatively use a piece of clay pot, soak it in water for 30 minutes, tuck it into your brown sugar, and then I seal the brown sugar Ziploc bag and put my top on it, and it keeps the brown sugar from clumping up. I dried the brown sugar bear with a paper towel. We're just gonna tuck them in. I'm just gonna close the Ziploc bag almost to the end, and try to get as much air out that I can, and then just seal it. it in. And there you have brown sugar. Investing in your kitchen, purchasing like a KitchenAid, I think is a really wise investment. I use my KitchenAid every day, and this is just one example how. So we have our regular pure cane sugar, our brown sugar. What about powdered sugar? Sugar that you make icings for cakes with, that kind of thing. Let me show you how you can make your own powdered sugar using just regular pure cane sugar. Another kitchen gadget that I think is just wonderful is my Vitamix blender. Now, I know that the Vitamix is really pricey. I bought mine off of the HSN, the Home Shopping Network, and I think I made 6 payments on it. And I finally got my Vitamix a few years back. Now, they have the regular blender container, and they have one that's a dry container that you can grind up different things. Today I'm going to use the dry container to make powdered sugar. Super simple. I have 1.5 cups of pure cane sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. I'm going to use my Vitamix blender to grind this up. Be right back. I did 3 bursts of 20 seconds, and now we have beautiful powdered sugar. Another sugar that I store is these pure cane sugar cubes. Now this is the Domino brand. You can find it at Walmart. I believe the package has 126 sugar cubes. It costs $1.84. It takes 5 packages to fill a gallon container. I buy these because one of my sons uses these. It brings him joy. And it's just something that he really likes. I mean, I personally don't see the difference of taking a spoonful of sugar out of the sugar bowl versus having a sugar cube, but it's just one of his things. And he's a very like simple person to please, and this is just like one of his hidden pleasures. Go figure. So I'm going to put on the list. I probably need about 2 more of those packages to fill my gallon container, and this will last us a good year. The other thing I wanted to mention about this container, this is a gallon Peat container. I really like these. They're they don't have any BPA, anything like that. I like how I can grab the front of them and then lift here. I have a nerve conduction issue in one of the nerves in my back that makes me drop things all the time, and this just works really well for me. Now, the top you can buy the rubber gaskets for. When Ken and I took scuba lessons about 30 years ago, one of the poor men ways to house a camera underwater and take some video was to use one of these Peat containers, and they'd put this rubber gasket in here, and they would go down like 2 or 3 atmospheres, which a sea level is 1 atmosphere, and for every 15 feet you go down is another atmosphere. So like if you go down about 30 feet, that's about 3 atmospheres. And it would not leak. It was airtight. The housings that like Jacques Cousteau used, was like thousands and thousands of dollars. So this is just a cheap way that people did it back in the day. And by adding the gasket to your Peat container, it makes it airtight for your pantry storage. I just thought I'd mention that because that's a really inexpensive way to get a really nice container. Now, I tell you this because you can buy these Peat containers and then after market purchase the gaskets for them. And I'll put a link in the description box to the company where I purchased my gaskets from. But I have a lot of these Peat containers. I love them for storing dry goods. If you haven't figured it out, I have my pantry set up in gallon-sized containers for the most part. For me, it takes a lot of the weight off not having it glass. I prefer glass. Don't get me wrong. I prefer to store food in glass. But with my medical condition, this one really is a good solution for me. All right, just thought I'd mention that. Here is the gallon of molasses. Now, I like to store the molasses in glass, so I sterilize 2 half-gallon mason jars in boiling water, and then pour the molasses in there and store it on my pantry shelf. I keep the small container of molasses in my bake center, and I just refill as needed. Likewise, I keep a gallon of Caro syrup in the pantry, and then I keep this one in the bake center and just top it off. I don't use a lot of Caro syrup at all, mainly at Christmas if I make certain candies. On this bottom rack, I have the half-gallon mason jars by Ball, and I have the Caro syrup, the molasses. Now here I have honey. We have 2 beehives and we're doing really well. It's our first year. Some of this honey we got from our mentor. We have a beekeeper association here in town that's just huge. We have a mentor that's been helping us. And some of the honey we have stored here is some of the honey that he has raised. Just phenomenal. But so far this year, we're doing great on producing honey. And then we also have maple syrup. Now we have some mature maple trees on our property, and we planted 30, was it 5-year-old or 7-year-old trees about 5 years ago? But this maple syrup came from my cousin's maple syrup farm. He has like 2,000 maple trees that he taps every year. He has a big sugar shack, big production. So this was some of his maple syrup. Hopefully in the future, Ken and I will start tapping our own trees. It takes about 40 to 41 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. It's like liquid gold. Then over here I have some vanilla sugar. This is pure cane sugar. Whenever I use a vanilla bean, I just toss it in there and it perfumes the sugar. It's great at Christmas time when you're baking sugar cookies. You sprinkle some of that on it. It's really good, you guys. I'll share this since I'm going down here on this bottom rack. I have vanilla extract in these half-gallon containers. You've seen the one container I showed you when I did why vanilla beans are so expensive video. I'll put that link in the description box if you want to see it. When I was cleaning out my bake center, I found 3 pounds of vanilla beans, and I found this 32-ounce container of vanilla bean paste. I thought I had won the lotto. But anyway, I'll show you what I did with that. I was cleaning out my bake center and I came across some grade B vanilla beans. I forgot I had bought them, you guys. And there's almost 3 pounds here. And I was just looking online. A pound of the grade B Madagascar vanilla beans are selling for $180 a pound. I just won the lotto ticket. I think if I recall, I bought them, they were about $27 a pound, which I thought was expensive at the time. But yeah, what a lucky find. I also found this big 32-ounce vanilla bean paste. This is one of the big bottles. I looked on Amazon and 4 ounces is going for $28. So I have a small fortune in vanilla here. Anyway, I'm sterilizing some half-gallon jars, and I'm gonna make some vanilla extract, probably enough to last my lifetime. I know when I bought this, it was probably less than $28. I think I just timed it just perfect. I had forgotten I had bought these but I must have done it just before the vanilla price hike hit. All right, I just wanted to show you, I sterilized these half-gallon ball jars, the mason jars. After adding the vanilla beans, I topped each jar with vodka. This is one I've had going for a couple of years, almost 2 years. It is probably quadruple strength. It's beautiful. This one has been about a month, and this one I just started today. So you can see as the time progresses, it just gets more and more concentrated. I have a type 1 diabetic son, you guys know that. I do store this bakeable stevia Swerve confection, Swerve brown and Swerve white, to have on hand for his needs. He really is not a sugar eater. I mean, this will last him a long time, but I do keep it on hand. Another sugar item that I store is Truvia. I buy a big box of this at Sam's Club, and mainly I use it for hot tea or cold tea, and I keep it in this gallon Peat container, and then I can stock my tea drawer. Over here in my tea drawer, I have my Truvia section, and it looks a little bit low, so I should stock up. Hang on. That looks better. I love my tea drawer. I'm a tea toting drinker. These are some of the items I'm storing in the sugar category in my pantry this year. I hope it gives you some ideas, and until the next video, I will talk to you guys later.